Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Zuhair. Jazakumullah khair all for coming here. And inshallah, we're expecting about 100 people or 120. So inshallah, as people are arriving, but we want to start on time. That's part of the process that we're trying to follow. So inshallah, I'll talk to you today for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then Sheikh Zuhair will take it on. We'll talk about what we call sustainable change. Last time we spoke about the change factors. Specifically, we mentioned community agreements, the change rounds, and the decentralization. I want to review that quickly. When we talk about community agreements, these tend to be some statements that the community agrees upon, especially before they begin having some important conversations. So for us here, for example, today, we want to understand that we agree that there is no quick fix, that sometimes we need to have an urgent response, but that doesn't mean that it's a quick fix or a permanent fix. It's also important to uplift the confidentiality of both the members as well as the communities. Also, it's important to have the self and the community care, so we don't burn ourselves too fast and then we can't keep going. It has to be a sustainable work effort. The next part is struggling together. A lot of people, they try to think of communities as divisions and portions and groups and stuff that are in conflict with each other. It's important to understand that as a community, it is a communal struggle. And we also want to understand the concept of simultaneity, which means that generally good people, they can do bad things, and generally bad people, they can do good things. So this sticker or this labels that this person is completely good or this person is completely bad is not something that is realistic. And the final thing is that it is important to center the marginalized voices. Some of the most marginalized voices in our communities are the ones that have good ideas, and they're the ones that are able to contribute on a big scale. When we talk about change in general, a lot of people think about change from a projects round perspective. The projects, it could be something like someone would say, I would like to establish a community center or a Muslim school or a masjid or whatever. When people think about change, all what they think about is how is that change going to manifest in a project. However, there is another realm, which is called the relations realm, which usually is created in our communities as a result of projects. So people start with a project, and then they say, okay, let's gather the people around it, and that creates the relationships between the people, ideally. And then after that, after the project is complete, let's say it's an Islamic school, or let's say it is a masjid or whatever, then they say, okay, let's change some of the ideas. And when we talk about the ideas realm, we're talking about understandings, assumptions, emotions, visions. This is usually how any community tends to understand change. They want to start with a project and they want to bring people together. Ideally, they would say that the people will work together very harmoniously. That usually doesn't happen. And then after the project is established, 50 years from now, after the center is built, then we're going to start changing some ideas. And last time we talked about an example, and we said, let's take the German people in Germany, who are super advanced, they're super modern, and let's take the people in the Amazon. These are the people that a lot of us look at as primitive people. So if we take the people in the Amazon and we put them in Germany, and then we take the German people and we put them in Amazon, what is going to happen after 5 years? So in Germany, we have a lot of projects, we have a lot of advancements. In the Amazon, we don't have a lot of advancements and technological and social constructs in that area. What's going to happen after 5 years is that Germany is going to turn into an Amazon, and the Amazon are going to turn into Germany. And that's because the ideas are what is moving people. So what we are trying to do here is that we're trying to start from the ideas, which is going to be those 1-hour presentations. And then we want to focus on building relationships, which is the 1-hour socialization that Sheikh Zuhair was talking about, in a hope that eventually when we come to work on projects, it will be a harmonious way of conducting change. So one of the things that we're working on right now, we've managed to do successfully, is that we managed to register an organization called the Olive Branch Revival Foundation. So this organization is a CRA registered, it's a federal level nonprofit charity. All the work of it and all the transactions that are conducted by it are within Canada, and it is Victoria based. This was actually a culmination of efforts of many years. It's not just something that happened yesterday. There has been many years of discussions, testing, and consultations that resulted in the registration of this organization. Just the registration process took 2 years. This is just the logistical aspects. If anyone has registered a charity before, it's not an easy process. It takes about 2 years. Some organizations spend 15 years to register it. I guess we were lucky, alhamdulillah. We got it done in 2 years. And it is something that provides a couple of things. The first thing, it's a platform. It's an alternative platform. But the second thing is that it provides a transparency according to national standards, standards that are set by the Canadian government. It is focused on the model that I spoke about, which is the ideas model and building relationships in order to establish sustainable, positive projects. It is one of several foundational structures that we're working on right now that they'll be announced progressively in order to allow us to conduct work that is a bit decentralized. The emphasis as well that we're doing is training people as well as changing mindsets. It is important that when we look at the idea of a change in a community, it cannot be just a select few that are going to conduct the change. It has to be everyone in the community. All the individuals and everyone that is within that community has to be doing something. And if people are not generally on the same page, it becomes very difficult to conduct that change. One of the things that we're doing, because we are not in isolation, we're in context, we have a number of projects that go under community support. One of them is that we are actively working with 5 communities right now, and we're trying to focus on creating that mental change, that framework of thinking. I'll give you some examples. I'm not going to tell you which communities they are because we want to uphold that confidentiality aspect. One of the communities we're working on is a community that is in the mainland, so it's not here in Victoria, it's in the mainland. It's a very homogeneous community, which means that they generally come from the same background. They have recently went through a crisis. They've lost their long-standing imam, and that immediately created quite a bit of turmoil within the community. So they've approached us, they've talked to us, and we proposed some changes to some frameworks, as well as we proposed one project that will help them relearn how to work together again in a new way. Another community is a community that's here on the island. It's mainly consists of refugees and immigrants. They have also recently lost one of their founders who approached us, and then the community also approached us. And we're trying to work with them to overcome some of the ideas that that might be not be fitting to the context that they're in. Some of the stuff they're struggling with is collective vision as well as some of the inner dynamics. A third community is also inland, here on the island. It is a very small community and very new. However, they are managing to create some big change. We're actually surprised by how much they're able to do despite them being small. So we're supporting them with conferences, sending some scholars up to them as well as with guidance. We're also monitoring some three other communities. One of them is a community in the east. They're a homogeneous community. They managed very quickly, within very short span of time, to achieve huge success. So we're monitoring them and we're trying to learn from them few things that can be propagated to other communities. Another community is on the mainland. It consists of very young and educated group of people. They are trying to do some big things all at once. However, they're struggling with identity. So despite them actually being the children of Canada, but they're struggling with who they are in Canada. So we're working with them, trying to assist with that. A third community, they recently acquired a space. However, they're still contending with some very old ideas. We have also a platform that allows us to conduct some projects that are still focused on attempting to change some ideas. I'll talk about 3 of them that we have done so far. One of them is the Ramadan Competition, the other one is the food bank, and the third one is the Zakat project. So the Ramadan Competition, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It is a 30-day challenge that started as a hybrid model in 2014, and it switched to be completely virtual in 2020.
So it's a 30-day challenge. All participants have to get in. They have to show up every single day in order to see certain material and then answer certain questions. This year, our litmus test was that, are we going to be able to establish some strategic partnerships across Canada? So this competition, it was conducted before, it was mainly local in BC. But our litmus test this year was that, can we take it across Canada? And it was very successful. I'll show you soon the organizations that have sponsored us. We've also tried to take some innovative marketing approaches like Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and we managed to reach over 100,000 people. We had over 1,000 people that participated, which might seem like a small number, but in reality, it's a huge number. We've monitored most of the competitions that were running in North America. None of them has gotten close to this. And if you think about it, there's no 1,000 people that show up to the masjid or to Taraweeh consistently for 30 days. To be able to show up every single day consistently, it is very difficult. Some of the success that we've managed to do is shown right here. We can see that last year we expected 300 people and 306 people participated. This year we estimated 500, but we had 1,000 people show up to this competition. Now, this was the litmus test, is that, can we get the major organizations in Canada to be part of a project that is focused on changing ideas? And we did. So we had Islamic Relief, we had MAP, we had IDRF, we had people from Calgary, we had the Pakistani Association, we had Penny Appeal, HCI. All those organizations have sponsored the competition and advertised for it, which allowed us to formulate certain framework in order to have a bigger and sustainable reach. The next project that we're working on, we've been working on for a few years right now, is called Al-Ma'oon Food Bank. Now, most food banks, as you're aware, they have certain ways of conducting things. We wanted to do something a bit differently. So we said that this Ma'oon Food Bank has to be based on Islamic values. One of them is dignity. I cannot tell you how many people do not show up to food banks because they feel that their dignity will be hurt or will be compromised if they go stand in line or if they ask people for help. So it was very important for us to establish that if somebody needs help, they need to be able to receive it in a dignified way. The next value is sustainability. Most projects that start, they end by the exit or the death of the founders. Most projects. So we wanted to do something a bit different that will continue to happen. So we said that we cannot start a project unless we can guarantee that it will stay running 10 years, 20 years from now. So that's one of the things we put in this Ma'oon Food Bank. And the last thing is quality. I cannot even emphasize enough how many times, and you must have seen it firsthand, where somebody is giving somebody help and they would give them things that are not of quality. So we wanted to have the value of quality in this project. We wanted to also do it through strategic partnerships and sustainable systems. So far, for the past some Ramadans, we have managed to give 400 to 500 meals every Ramadan, alhamdulillah. And we managed to give Ramadan baskets to 40 large families, so that's 5 to 8 members, and 60 small families, that's 4 or less members. We also have some weekly delivery of groceries to about 12 families, which is about 50 individuals here in Victoria. Now, we've done some analysis, and we can actually take this super big, if we do it right, and be able to deliver these groceries up to 200 plus families here in Victoria. Again, we're trying to build it sustainably, so that's some of the things that we're working on right now. And we also wanted to be a platform in order to help change ideas and formulate identities. So a lot of the young people that are here, a lot of the identity formation happens when you interact and you do things firsthand. So we want to be that part of the project. The next thing I will talk about is the Zakat. If you have been following anything on North American level or even European level about Zakat, you know that it is one of the most contentious issues in today's time and age, in North America as well as in Europe. There are some organizational changes. One of them is this administration fees that some organizations put on. They might say, okay, it is 12.5% or 14%, but what it ends up happening is that sometimes it goes up to 54%. So by the time that the zakah comes, if you give $100, by the time it gets to the beneficiary, it has lost over 50% of its values to flexible administration fees. The other challenge is the distribution in time. A lot of the organizations, sometimes they're not able to deliver this zakah very quickly. At the same time, they might not have the capacity to do that. So the zakah would sit for years in the accounts. The last organizational challenge is actually verifying beneficiaries. So are these beneficiaries that are receiving the zakah, they're zakah eligible or not? And we've come across some horrendous things that we've seen. Some causes that would have the sticker of zakah eligible, and they are the farthest from being zakah eligible that you can imagine. Things that can even harm the community. They would stick zakah eligible on them. There's also a challenge to the donor. One of them is the impact. A lot of the people that donate big amount of money, they're very busy people. So they want their money to go very far. The next one is confidentiality. Something worth noting here is that a lot of the big donors, they donate to other communities because they want to maintain that confidentiality. And the last one is being able to what's called like kind of custom projects. So let's say, for example, somebody has a nether, has some sort of oath, and he wants to give a certain amount of money to a specific cause. Getting the reports back for most organizations is not there. So we worked on resolving that. So on the organizational side, we have right now 0% fees, and I'll explain how that is. We also distribute it as soon as possible. So the zakah comes in, we already know who the people that are in need. It is all local, which means that there are no administration fees to transfer between one organization to the other, because every time you transfer it, the other organization takes administration fees, even if it is the same organization. The moment you transfer it to another locality, there's some extra administration fees to that. And on the donor's side, what we are working on, and what we managed to successfully do on few things, is we capitalize on matching. I'll give you an example. One major donor that we have he works for a huge company, and that huge company partners up with a nonprofit organization that matches all donations. So he came and he gave us $6,000 in zakah. So, but he said, what I want you to do is I want you to get verified with that third party. I said, okay, that's a charity, we're a charity, so we're a registered charity. We got verified, took us 2 days, and what that did is that doubled his amount of contribution. So that other organization will give us another $6,000 that we can take, and we could spend it either in the same path or put it towards other projects that we're working on. Another member who donated to the organization that we have, he said, okay, I volunteered with you guys. Give me a letter. I'll give it to my company. The company will match the number of hours I donated in X amount of money. So this way, we're able to make that money that is donated reach a lot further. Confidentiality. We had one donor who came and he donated zakah in tens of thousands of dollars, and he said, look, what I want, he approached one of the members of our organization, and he said, look, I don't want anyone to know. So we said, okay, not even the other organization members? He said, no, nobody, because it's tens of thousands of dollars. So he doesn't want to know how much assets he has. So what we did is that we partnered up with Canada Help. Canada Help allows him to donate directly to them, and then they would give us the money while him remaining anonymous. He would still get the tax receipt without us knowing who that person is. So even I'm right now, as a founder of the OBRF, I don't know who that person is because he didn't approach me, he approached another team member. A third way that we resolved this project selection report is that we had one person who came and he said, I'm going to give you $5,000 zakah. What I want you to do with it is spend it all in zakah, but I want a certain portion of it to go towards a specific oath that I have. So we said, okay. So we quickly managed to do that because we're still local and we're still operating in a systematic way that allows us to achieve these things. These are some of the things that we've been working on, and it's important for us to tell you about them. So how to get involved? It's important to attend these meetings. These meetings, they happen monthly. There's 1 hour that try to contribute to that ideas round, and there's 1 hour that contributes to the socialization, to us connecting with each other. We also want to let you know that we're working on a number of big projects right now, and inshallah we'll be announcing them progressively throughout the next few months. And finally, visit the OBRF.ca website, inshallah.